Have you ever wondered what was out there in the night sky? Stared up at the stars in the hopes of seeing something out of the ordinary? Have you ever heard unexplainable noises coming from a vacant room, or watched a shadow cross the wall in front of you? Have you asked yourself if there's life after this one, or if you had life before? What about strange creatures that are mythical and elusive? Have you experienced deja vu, or felt a prompting to leave because you felt you were in danger? What if tomorrow you were on the fringe? Welcome to another episode of What If Tomorrow on the Fringe. I'm Philip.
I'm Mark.
And tonight we've got a good, fun show. You know, we're going to talk a lot about a bunch of different topics that have to do with one area of the world that not many people know very much about. I think most people that are educated in that area of the world really don't know much about it. It's like the least explored continent. You know, we're talking about Antarctica. We're going to talk about some of the conspiracies and the mysteries behind it, different things like that. But first things first, do us a favor, check us out over at whatiftomorrowmedia.com. You know, all of our, I can't even talk right now. All of our affiliates, you know, we have Duke Cannon over there. We have My Patriot Supply, EMP Shield, Conflicted the Game. We got all those. We have a little bit of merch out on there. We got shirts, I think we got hoodies. That's about all we have over there. But yeah, go over there and check it out. Support the show through them. Also, come over and join us over on the What If Tomorrow podcast group over on Facebook. We've got a lot going on. We just added another person to the team, Chris, Mark's wife. She jumped on. She's going to be the administrator over there and kind of help with producing content over there on Facebook. So welcome aboard, Chris. Yeah, with that being said, you know, folks, thanks for listening. You know, I mean, we definitely appreciate it. We definitely appreciate the time that you guys give us. I can't thank you guys enough. Well, like I said, we're rebuilding. You know, after we took our hiatus a while back, we're rebuilding. You know, this is all but really a brand new channel or a new show here. We changed the name to from just What If Tomorrow podcast. And if you're a regular listener, you know, we just slid that over to Preparedness and News, and we started this one. This has been a lot of fun. We've had some good guests on here, and I hope we have some more soon. I've got to personally take it up on, or challenge myself to send more emails out, because it kind of gets tough after a while once you work the hours we work. It gets tough. You know, life happens. You know, but hopefully we get some new guests on soon. Anyway, on with the show. Antarctica. Where do you want to start at, Mark? There's
I don't know.
much
There's
to talk about.
so many things to talk about. You want to talk about flat Earth?
Yeah, we can go with flat Earth.
That's a good place to start. Okay, so the theory from the flat earthers is that Earth, the globe, if you smash it down, then Antarctica actually is a ring around the flat Earth that holds all the water in, underneath this dome that holds the stars and the sun and the moon, and they just, yeah. So there's that.
Yeah, I'm
like
gonna pull up
several 100-foot ice wall. Yeah.
Yeah, there's other maps that I've seen people have that showed more continents outside of that wall. There's only a few spots, and there's actually, I forget, it was a Revolutionary War ship captain who supposedly went through that wall and came upon an advanced civilization out there. And it was during a wartime of theirs. They were welcomed. They were happy to have. This ship apparently was huge from the story I heard on this. And they were taken on board. They took them back to their their home continent, island, whatever. Um, and were treated great, but they said we wish you wouldn't have came at this time because this other group, I forget names and stuff. It's just real vague to my memory right now. So they ensured they got back to the seawall to where they could get through there and go back to their home. But this map, on the outside continents, there was Atlantis, Asgard. That's the Norwegian gods in it, Thor and Odin. And
Yeah,
Asgard.
that's where the gods of the Norse live.
But yeah, there's tons of, other islands outside of it. And had I been thinking about it, I would have tried to find it. All I'm getting now is just the, simple flat Earth maps. Let's see what that one is. That's basically it. But, everybody's familiar with the flat earthers, I'm sure. If you're listening to this show, I know you're definitely aware of what they are, what the map looks like. It's not like it's hidden knowledge. And I've listened to some of that, and a lot of it is really compelling. The whole flat Earth thing. I can't be convinced. When you can use a telescope and look in the sky and see all the other planets,
Right.
all that.
And you can go out on the ocean and you watch a ship go over the horizon. You can see it go over the curve of the Earth and
Right.
track it and measure it.
Right.
Even the ancient Greeks had the math down to within 200 kilometers or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's like 100 miles, 120 miles.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
So,
it's I don't know. This isn't really a flat
it's
Earth
a hard
show, but
sell.
it is to me. It is. It absolutely is to me. Now I guess an argument could be made that if you subscribe to the simulation theory, which I'm not convinced that's not real. You know what I mean? All this could be a simulation. That's why, we see more and more the farther out we get. And the speed of light is the processing speed. Kind of makes sense. If you think about it.
Okay.
So I guess, flat Earth could be, I guess it would be plausible in that aspect, if we are a simulation.
Yeah.
And off topic, we're already getting off topic, but
Oh no, I'm getting ready to go down the rabbit hole big time without getting right back out.
I seen a thing yesterday, and that reminded me of the conversation we had with Frank here a while back, where we're talking about NPCs. We need to do some research on this and do a show on NPCs.
Yeah, we really do.
But this information, this thing I read the other day, came out and said 90 to 95% of the people on Earth are NPCs.
Well, a lot of them act like that way.
They do.
Yeah, they do. They act like they're programmable.
Right.
So.
It's all the program. Quantum physics has proven that. Has proven we basically create our own reality, and that's why I believe that we do. I don't know. It's weird, and that's a whole different show.
Okay.
What's that?
We've talked about simulation theory.
I thought we've done a show, and I'm actually trying to get a guy on to that knows more about it than I do, obviously, and can explain it very well. So we'll see where that goes. And he's actually a well-known individual.
Good deal.
So I'm trying to. The worst he can say is no, right?
Right.
So, or not get back to us. I mean, like several people have, so not haven't given us the time of day. But oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean the whole flat Earth thing. I don't buy it. I really don't.
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's a fun theory.
it is. It definitely is.
Here's my
and
rabbit hole.
all right, go for it.
All right. So, the flat earthers, they think the Earth's flat and they got all this stuff that says they think they can prove it. And then there's everybody else. What if they're both right? What if, this, it goes with the show, what if it is kind of like simulation theory where everybody creates their own reality? So in the reality they live in, it is flat. And in our reality, it is round. And where it intersects is, Nutsville.
I don't know, man. I mean,
So
that's definitely
get your tinfoil hats out now, folks. This is going to be a
absolutely.
wild ride.
I mean, I could definitely see it. I mean, given what we've talked about before, you create your reality, and if that's what you believe, obviously, you've created that reality, and you're not going to be
So,
convinced otherwise.
so when people like that disappear, they've fallen off the edge of the earth, and to us, they just disappeared.
Right. Or is it a timeline or a dimensional parallel, that like overlaps a little bit or something like that?
Right. And we're all interacting, and then, yeah,
Right.
and
And
we don't even
if you
realize
get
it.
on if you get on Facebook or anything like that and watch I come across them every now and again because of the stuff I look for, obviously. The algorithm's like, well, heck, he's looking this up. He might be interested in this. Okay, so I see a lot of flat Earth groups come across, and there's some pretty heated debate, almost like a political debate. That you look on Facebook, people are cussing each other and all that. I'm like, you're not going to prove it unless you get on a boat and just go due west, due east, whatever. You're never going to prove it. And then, if they did that and it proved them wrong, they would come up with a reason why it turned out the way it did and still be a flat Earth.
They've already figured that out. It's like the north of the compass. It's like a string. As you go around the flat Earth, the compass always points to the center. And so while you think you're going in a straight line, you're actually going in a giant circle. Like on
So
a
they already
record.
gave.
Yeah,
so
they've already gave that some
themselves
thought. I've already seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. So
Yeah. So
um,
it's like using a compass. You pin to north, and then you go around in a circle. That's
yeah, I've not heard that one. But yeah, no matter what it is, I mean, whether even us, I mean, when we believe in something so much, we're going to talk ourselves into believing that, unless there is something to smack you in the face hard enough to wake you up and get you to look at real life.
yeah. And some of us, it'll take several smacks.
Yeah, it will.
So,
Here's Levi with my son.
yo, dude, how you doing?
But yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, like I said, we could do a whole show on it. And we need to have an invite from, I can't remember the flat Earth guy's name. It wouldn't have worked out. Early on, we did. But it wouldn't have worked out with my internet and all that good stuff. So I just didn't respond to him because I wasn't going to take that on. I just wasn't. I mean, I'm all for, debate, and I'm all for casual conversation. But that, I don't know. I think Willie's done it when on Band of Bearded Brothers.
Oh, we'll have to get Willie on to talk about it one of these days. But I kind of like your theory. We're both right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, quantum physics says you could do that. I think. I mean, I don't know the math behind it.
Nobody knows the math behind it, Phil.
No, exactly. It's a wild card, because when you observe it, it's there. When you don't observe it, it's not there. It's
It's
been proven.
Schrodinger's planet.
It is exactly. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's plausible.
All right.
So I won't poo poo it.
All right. So what do you want to talk about next?
Let's talk about Google Earth. Here's a
Okay.
kind of a conspiracy I have come across, and I'm going to share this. Um, no. If you've ever looked at Antarctica on Google Earth, a lot of it's blurred out, like the satellites haven't went over it or something like that. And the thing about Antarctica is it's a huge no-fly zone. You can't
It's a
fly
huge
over the South Pole.
zone.
So what's the reasoning? I mean, I know they go under the guise of safety. Because I think it was Reagan that that got this in the treaty that you can't fly more than 100 miles from an airfield. But I would like to know why, because if something happened, they didn't want to have them too far from an airfield. Okay, that makes sense. But I'm not convinced that's not the case. I mean, why is the whole continent a no-fly zone? And why, like, all of this blurred out?
Yeah, that's odd.
I mean, okay, I get, it's a desert. It literally is.
Yeah, it is. There's no plants.
Right. But why is all this? I mean, there for a while on this image, I thought, maybe it was a daylight thing or a sunlight thing. But all this, I believe, is superimposed over it because of this little notch right here.
Yeah, pixelated type.
Right. So why is all this covered? I mean,
Question.
obviously, Google's been there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just my thoughts. I mean, there's tons of other conspiracies with Antarctica as well, but this one just kind of here a while back when I was messing around on Google. We'll get into this one here in a little bit, but why? I don't understand the necessity. I mean, they have satellites that can read a dime. And obviously, according to the map, Google's been over it.
Right.
So why is it blocked out? Why is it a no-fly zone?
It's a good question.
Or if you've been paying attention in the last several years, I didn't really catch on because I really didn't wake up until everything that was going on until about 2008. I mean, I've shared my story on here. My elderly grandfather, who lived through the Depression, said he'd never seen it that bad. And he's be worse off now, but that's a whole different story. But so I started looking around and looking at things. But if you noticed, the number of people, like officials, that have went down there. John Kerry, Barack Obama, all these different world leaders. I mean, now we're getting into tinfoil. What's that?
Why are they going? There's
Why?
nothing down there.
No, it's a research station. Why are they going down there?
Just to say they went? That's an awful expensive trip.
Yeah. I mean, is it plausible? Yeah, it sure is. I mean, they don't have a problem wasting money. But
That's
but why are they going down? What is the reasoning behind it? I would like to know. I mean, I think we would have a right to know because it's our taxpayer dollars. But I think there's more to it. And I tend to, I don't know if I believe it or not, but I've heard a theory out there that the, quote unquote elite, their headquarters is down there. Because when they set the world on fire, they got to have a place to run to.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it makes sense to me. Right or
It
wrong,
really
I don't
does.
know. I can't say 100%. And Chris might be right too. And Chris said there's a Stargate. I'm telling you, I don't doubt it. I really don't.
I mean,
There's so much.
maybe that whole TV show was, all right, this is tinfoil hat time.
Let's go.
The whole TV show was to make you think it was fake. So when people actually talk about it, we'd say, "Oh, you're just talking about a show."
And
It wouldn't surprise me.
no, it wouldn't. Levi asked. That's a good question. Isn't there a giant seed making in Antarctica, or is that North Arctic? I think it's in Norway, I believe, isn't
It's
it?
in Norway.
That I know of. I don't know of one down there, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it'd be
a good
perfect
place for
storage.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, uh, all right. Well, that one's definitely some tinfoil hat stuff right
Yeah,
there.
I mean, there's more to it. I mean, the whole. I mean, we could tie in the Nazis. I mean, it's all conspiracy.
So supposedly the Nazis built cities in giant caverns
Mm-hmm.
underneath the ice in Antarctica.
Right. I've seen pictures. I haven't had time to look them up, but you can look them up. And Levi, he commented. He said, "All I know is it's cold wherever it is." Yep, it is.
Well, it's definitely not
hello?
here. 'Cause it's hot as
Not sure who that is because if you're commenting, please comment or give StreamYard permission. That way we know who we're speaking to, please. But yeah, I've seen pictures, supposedly of. Oh, hey Jess, Jess. But yeah, I have seen pictures of like hangar bays and things like that in the mountains. Whether they're real or not, I don't know.
you can do anything.
And
with
really,
photos.
yeah, and anymore it's hard to
Can't
know
trust
what is
anything,
real
yeah.
and what's not. Hey, there's my wife jumping on. And Levi, he commented, he said he's read stories on Reddit, great place I know, about there being installations all over Antarctica. Even the researchers are told not to go to certain areas. I've heard that as well.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I've heard some pretty, and that's a possibility too. I'm going to get into the story here in a little bit on something. But Levi commented that maybe there's an apex predator that is different than we've ever seen. My wife, I got to put this up there. She said dinner's ready, by the way. Thanks.
Keep it warm.
Yeah,
What is it? Maybe I'll come over.
I think she made some dirty rice.
Oh, that sounds good.
But I just lost my train of thought. But train has left the station here. But yeah, I've seen like installations and stuff like that, pictures of them. And again, I don't know what's real, what's not real. You can't really tell anymore. And I'm not a photography expert. So who knows? I think it's a huge possibility because the Nazis were into that, the occultism and the UFOs and things like that. And if you go back to Operation High Jump with Admiral Byrd, when he went to Agartha, which is supposedly another entrance, in the South Pole. where he talks about going into the inner Earth. He talks about UFOs and stuff like that. But if you remember the conversation, I can't remember the leader's name of
The
Agartha,
Master.
supposedly. The Master.
The Master. Sounds
But
like a
if
Doctor
you remember
Who
that
villain.
conversation, what's that?
The Doctor Who villain.
Oh. But if you remember that conversation, he talked about how they tried to contact the Nazis. I don't remember the name he used, but they were going to use their technology for world domination. So they pulled it back. And if you haven't heard that story or whatever, go back. It's been, was it last year before last? We did
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, we did Operation High Jump. With Admiral Byrd
Hollow Earth.
talking about that, or Hollow Earth. And so yeah, go back and listen to that. But it's
that's on our
a cool
website.
story. Yeah. It's a cool story. I like the story. I like even if it's real or not real. I mean, I guess you could argue, he's a credible source. And he held on to it till his death, till he was about to die.
Right.
So maybe not, so.
Yeah. Well, everything I have seen so much that talks about the Nazis doing stuff in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Including the main reason they went, I suppose, was they first saw a shortage in whale oil. At the time, that was the only way they could make margarine, and they loved margarine in Germany.
Yes.
Now, forget all the conspiracy theories. Forget everything. I want to talk about whale oil and margarine. Okay? It's not paranormal, but it should be. Because it's just not normal. Why? Moby Dick is going to come haunt you from your oleo tub.
Well, like I said, backstage, this not really normal, but what comes out the other end might be. So,
It might haunt everybody. Let's just talk about oleo and whale oil.
Yeah. They they were there.
I'm sorry. That's even weirder than the flat Earth stuff. I'm sorry.
Well, the Nazis weren't really sane. I mean, if you think about it.
Well, that's true. That's true.
But speaking of Nazis, they had research missions, all that stuff. I want to say that there's reports of them having UFOs. With the Nazis and all that. And that goes right along with the Diglocka and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I truly believe, speaking of Operation High Jump, Admiral Byrd, talking about it in 1947, just kind of paraphrasing, Germany had done a very detailed study of Antarctica and were alleged to have built for a small underground base located there before the war. I mean, they had apparently a submarine base and stuff like that there. I definitely think it's a huge possibility that they could have been there.
Yeah. What about America? America tried to build an under ice nuclear base in Greenland, which failed. And by the way, the nuclear reactor is still sitting there in the ice. So what if that was just a test case and they actually did build one in Antarctica? And that's why we've got the huge no-fly zone.
It could be. It could be possible. I mean, I don't doubt it a bit. Levi, he said, oh, there were tons of experimental weapons vehicles that the Nazi war machine were working on. One of them looked like a flying boomerang. He said, if you can think of it, he'll tell us. So,
Yeah, the flying wings
yeah,
they had.
yeah, the flying wing. Um, they were so far ahead of their time.
Oh, yeah.
They really were. They had some brilliant minds. Then the war ended and Operation Paperclip happened, and that's when we brought Werner von Braun and all those guys over to start our rocket program. All that. So again, I mean,
my question is, what would they have come up with if they hadn't had the war?
I don't know, because war breeds innovation.
That's true.
So I don't know. If you look at the advances over the last, 20 years or whatever, since we went in, to Iraq and Afghanistan, look at the improvements on things that have been made.
That's true. That's true.
But then again, there's things out there that were made that we don't know about. Guarantee it.
Oh, I guarantee it.
When we go back to that CSQR, and I'm not pushing that tonight. But they're talking drones the size of bees and things like that. I've seen them experimenting with the spiders. I mean, that video that I put up on Facebook here a while back
gives me the chills every time I think about that.
Yeah, the spiders.
Video.
I've seen them remote controlling cockroaches and all that. I mean, so it's definitely a possibility. So I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what would have came to be had there not been a war. Levi said the Horton Ho. What is that? 18th? Horton Ho 18 looks like a real early B-2 stealth bomber. Which is probably a reason for that. The same people were probably involved.
Probably so, yeah. I mean, because it wasn't that many years later when the stealth bomber program started.
Right. Was it Have Blue, wasn't it? When all that was started? Like that. Yeah, he said they were working on plans to bomb New York.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there was two programs. There was Have Blue, and I can't remember the other one, but it's where they got the design. They kind of mishmashed them and put them together for the stealth bomber. I don't have a lot of knowledge on the B-2. But I know the inception was like Have Blue, and there was something else. I don't remember. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell. It's harder to tell what kind of technology would have come out of a peaceful world. I'm not saying there's not innovation, but if you look at all the tech and stuff we have now,
that's true.
Where most of that came from was military.
That is a good point. All right. Well, there's Nazis. You want to talk about aliens?
Let's talk aliens. Let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, there's y'all time seen they've got a crashed UFO in the ice in Antarctica.
Yep.
There was that one looked like something skidded across the snow and crashed, a long cylindrical object. Looks to me like a giant icicle, but I mean, sure, let's just say it was a UFO.
Yeah.
It could be, because it's a very large area, and if something were to fall, you would definitely be able to find it, because there's no plants or rivers or anything for it to fall into. The ice is miles thick in places.
Yeah. Definitely is.
Ancient Aliens has had a ball with Antarctica.
They have. And I guess you could say rightfully so.
I mean, it's unknown.
It is. Again, we can go back to what we were talking about earlier. Why were so many world leaders going down there? 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever. It doesn't. There's something. There's some reason they went down there
I mean,
because it seemed like they all went around the same time.
yeah, yeah. Maybe it's not America or the Nazis that have a secret base. Maybe it's the aliens.
X-Files, the movie. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Was it? I'm trying to remember which astronaut went down there at the same time. He's one of the guys. I don't think it was Armstrong. Maybe Buzz Aldrin. But he went down there and he got sick down there, and they had to fly him out to New Zealand.
Yeah.
I do remember that. But again, what is the reason? Why did they go down there? The true reason.
Yeah.
I never even heard a possibly fake reason. They just went down there.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about it. They just went down there.
Right.
Stop by to see the troops.
Yeah. And they say there's supposedly a huge military presence down there. Why? There's penguins and seals. Nothing else that we know.
Now, I have it on good authority that seals are delicious, but penguins aren't. Just gonna lay that out there.
Well, I
Won't
try
disclose my sources, but that's what I've heard.
Yeah, I would try it, but
I give it a shot. Why not?
yeah, why not? You only live once. YOLO.
I feel a shirt coming on.
I'm sure they got plenty of them around. I think that's kind of old news.
No,
Levi said it has to
have
be some
aliens
USO
on it.
tour for astronauts. Maybe. What was it? Edgar Mitchell, wasn't it? Wasn't he the one that said that there was stuff on the moon?
Maybe.
My wife said I sounded old.
You're not old. Yeah, it might have been Edgar Mitchell.
But he talked about things being on the moon. And was it the 90s? They found the rock supposedly from Mars or something down there, where they were about to announce that they had found a bacteria or something like that.
Yeah.
In the meteorite. But think about it. If that's the case, that's like the perfect place to preserve
Anything.
It's dry. Sure, there's tons of snow, but it's dry.
It's dry. It's so cold. It's dry.
Right. Nothing really grows there. There's no algae or anything, bacteria, whatever. I'm sure down underneath him, because there's lakes, and we'll get into one story about one of the lakes. But there's lakes miles beneath the ice, freshwater lakes. And I'm sure it's teeming with life.
Of some sort, yeah. And there's volcanism, too.
Yeah.
So you got all these vent creatures that could be living around the vents that could have evolved in strange ways.
And there's an actual volcanic lake on the surface.
Yeah. That looks like a good place to put a base.
Yeah.
Geothermal energy, running water, running fresh water.
Yeah. Erebus is the name of it. Let's see if I can find a picture of it to share.
You should have won that $1.3 billion. We could have built us a little country there.
I know it. Let's see.
You wouldn't even have to try to keep people out. Nobody'd want to come.
But, again, the flat earthers and stuff like that, they say that um, that the military prevents flyovers and stuff like that. They're constantly flying patrols and things like that. Now that's what I've heard from the flat earthers. That's where I'll leave it. But yeah, I mean, you see all the snow and ice up here.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people talk about it being military presences in the Antarctica. There's a treaty to prevent that.
Right.
Uh, the reason you see so much military equipment in the Antarctic is because there's not many groups besides militaries that have the equipment that can survive there. I
Right.
mean, when it gets down to it, only governments have the money to waste for stuff that is Antarctic proof. And it's also a really good place to test habitats for, like lunar or
Yeah.
Martian, you know,
Yeah. And that could be also like
exploration. I
top
mean,
secret.
that's yeah,
It could be top secret bases or something they're trying to hide. Absolutely, it could. Levi, Levi said Chuck Norris could probably survive down there.
you wouldn't even have to cook those seals.
I know it.
They
I
just
don't
give
know if
up. And
Antarctica would survive Chuck Norris.
maybe not.
What's going to happen when Chuck Norris dies? Who's going to take his place?
I don't know.
Chuck
I love that
Norris?
guy, Chuck Norris.
Yeah,
Well, maybe he's trained his son up to
maybe.
be that tough.
But yeah, and also we'll just keep going with this. The pyramids.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff right there.
Yeah, is it a
It
real
looks like a
pyramid?
pyramid.
It does, and the thing is, it's symmetric all the way around it. I think it's like two. Is it 2 miles or 2 kilometers? One of those.
2 kilometers on a side,
Yeah.
even Steven.
Now, um, I definitely believe it's possible. My wife, he won't die. He'll kill the Grim Reaper and just take his job. Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
Um, but it's possible. I mean, if you look, and I was kind of looking into it a little bit earlier, but if you look at the number of really, really old, I mean, I'm talking older than Egypt, they're thinking these may be the pattern
Yeah.
for the rest of the pyramids around the world. And apparently they think there's actually an ancient pyramid in LA
Right.
that I didn't know about. That's all overgrown. I think I heard they found another one in Central America here not too long ago that was all
There's
overgrown.
supposedly some here in the United States.
Yeah.
And then we've got mounds and stuff all over the
Yeah.
place that look like pyramid mounds. So who knows? I mean, it could very well be. Seems like the pyramid shape shows up in about every continent on the planet. Now, is that because of aliens, or is it because it's the easiest stable structure for primitive people to construct?
Right.
Even children make pyramids out of their blocks because they
Right.
don't fall down easily. So, I mean,
Right. I think
yes, they do have one in Vegas.
they have one in Vegas, and Jess, I think she said she lost some money there once. I have too. They took some of my money too.
I've never been to a casino, but I would go to that one.
It's cool. It really is.
I would
I
go
think
to that one.
for me, it was probably my favorite just because it was cool. The light at the very top of it was all. It's not a light. It's just reflection. I'll pull it up and show you guys. Yeah, Luxor Hotel, Las Vegas. Yeah, but I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, um,
Hey, when we make it big, we'll have to have an event there. We'll have an excuse to go.
oh, that'd be cool. The light coming out is just it's not lights. It's light from inside the building being reflected through that. And if I'm correct, they say that you can see that light from space
Oh, that's
because it's
awesome.
so bright. But yeah, it was a cool. I thought it was a really cool place. They had good buffets too, though. So
Now, see, that's what I hear about all these casinos, that they have a good buffet. I really have zero interest in gambling. But you throw a good buffet out there, I might be interested. If I could have a
oh
slot
shit,
machine that gave me tokens for the buffet, I'd play that puppy all night.
that's Joe. It's from the garage, man. I'm sorry, man. I thought you were Jess. Jess was commenting on here earlier. But yeah, he said he keeps forgetting his info doesn't show up. What's up, brother? You can jump on with us if you want, man.
Yeah, we got all kinds of crazy things left to talk about.
Yeah, I mean,
You
Antarctica's
know, there's
crazy.
yeah, there's theories that it's a pyramid. There's theories that it's just a mountain that's been carved by the wind into the shape of a pyramid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to be. Oh, there was a home to a lost civilization, not aliens, but a lost civilization. Now, there could be
Yeah.
something to that. This one's one I got to throw out there. Uh, if you guys remember our Atlantis episode, we were talking about how 12 to 13,000 years ago, uh, the ocean levels rose suddenly, and we lost all the coastlines. The
Yeah.
coastlines we have today aren't the coastlines that we had 13,000 years ago. Those are all underwater. So scientists have said that 13 to 16,000 years ago, or 12 to 16,000 years ago, there was a warming period in Antarctica where most of the glaciers melted off, and it was actually quite habitable for a period of time. Well, where'd all that ice go? It went into the oceans.
Yep.
Water level rise. What if some of those people went to Antarctica for a couple thousand years and had a civilization, and now it's all frozen over?
Well, I mean,
I mean, it could
even
happen.
Graham, yeah, even Graham Hancock talks about that map, and I know I bring it up a lot here, but to me, it's pretty important how
Yeah,
they
the
showed that it
Fury
was,
Reese map.
yeah, uh, how it showed that they were they knew about it before there was supposed to be any seafaring uh, uh, civilizations. Um, Joe, dang Joe, that sucks, dude. He said he got his AC fixed after 8 days. He's been shacked up in a hotel. I'm like, gotcha. All right, man. That sucks. I feel your
Yeah,
pain. Mark does too.
I do too. My central air went out. I still haven't got anybody come out and look at it. I had to stick tiny window units all through the house because my windows slide sideways instead of up and down. It's fun,
Yeah.
but it's doing a really good job. So I mean,
Well, that's good.
who needs central air?
Yeah. It's quieter though.
It is a lot quieter. Although the white noise is nice at night. You know, I live in
Yeah.
town, so white noise is great.
But yeah, I mean, is Graham Hancock onto something? You know what I'm saying? I mean, about the ancient civilizations or before the great catastrophe or whatever. I think he is. I think there's something to
Every
it.
every civilization around the world has a legend of a great flood.
Hmm.
Every single one. Indian, everybody. So we know that this, and we know that about 12 to 13,000 years ago, the sea level rose quite a bit.
Yeah.
So if there was a seafaring civilization at that time, which I believe there was, because the indigenous people of Japan speak a language that is understandable by the people in the Basque region of Europe. So that's a long ways away for them to have a similar language. Uh, and I think a lot of these legends and stuff traveled on the ocean when the ocean was a lot smaller because there was a lot more ice.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see a rise in sea level again. Uh, I'm not going to go down the global warming thing, but we're still at the tail end of an ice age. And if we're in an ice age, the tail end of an ice age, that means that the normal is much warmer than what it is now. So, and for most of its history, Antarctica was basically free of ice. We know it had lush forests and dinosaurs and all kinds
Yep.
of stuff.
Yeah,
And it could again.
it could. I know they said they found like the predecessor, the evolutionists said they found the predecessor to like the alligators and the crocodiles and things like that. But they also found the plesiosaurs, the Loch Ness monsters and stuff like that. They found all those skeletons down there.
Yeah.
So
Why not a human civilization during a brief period of warming?
right.
I mean,
My
the
wife said it's a
Polynesians.
cycle.
Yeah, the Polynesians have legends of their great heroes sailing south and seeing great white rocks floating in the water, icebergs, and a huge landmass, and then that's where their people originally came from. That's what their legends say. Maybe they did. Maybe during that warming period, they had a civilization there. And when it got cold, they moved out.
Yeah. I've also heard there's another theory on a lot of where the giants came from.
Well, I mean,
now the Polynesian thing wouldn't tie in, I don't think. I mean, with you hear in South America a long time ago with the Mayans and the Aztecs and all that. You've seen the stories where they talk about red-haired men.
right.
And this is before the Vikings and all that. Not well, assumed to be before that. They may have been seafaring for a lot longer than what we're being told. I don't know.
Yeah.
So the Polynesian, obviously doesn't look like a Viking.
No, they do not.
They're size wise, I think it might be pretty close, but
Those Samoans, them guys can be pretty dang big.
they're some big guys, man.
They're like mountains on legs. They're
Yeah.
like 6.5 feet tall and 400 pounds, and most of it muscle.
Yeah. Yeah, they're big guys.
I'm not.
You want to definitely
I'm
be on
not
their good
picking a
side.
fight with any one of them. I'm not doing
No.
it. Not doing it.
No, not at all. I mean, I don't know. It's just it's a mystery, and I don't know that we'll ever get the answer to it. But while we're talking about animals and stuff down there, we've already said, there's seals and penguins and all that. But, we kind of alluded to it about the lakes
Yeah.
earlier and the possibility of sea life down there. Now, there's a story. This came out in 2016, so it's 6 years old. And I don't know if it's true. I've heard it was debunked. I've heard it wasn't debunked, so I don't know. But I found it really intriguing when I first heard about it. And if it is true, it's pretty damn scary to think about. But it's about 46B. You know, obviously this article expressed UK. It's a 14-leg killer squid 2 miles beneath being weaponized by Putin. Okay, I can see the guy doing it, but I don't know
Yeah,
if
if he
you've
could
looked
find it,
too
he'd do
far
it.
into
I mean,
this. Yeah, I don't know if you've looked too far into this, Mark, but
no, it reminds me
it's
of
an
the Europa
interesting.
report.
Yeah. This was on Lake Vostok. Now, what's weird? Okay, I'm my brain is kind of running wild with this. Okay, uh, Levi Putin plan on releasing the Kraken, but this doctor apparently blew the whistle because you know uh, this is a dangerous animal.
Right.
But the doctor said their discovery at Lake Vostok. Now Vostok, okay, I used to get on Weather Underground a lot and just see how cold it was down there.
Mm-hmm.
And now
Mars
you
is
can't.
usually warmer than.
Right. And you can't pull up Lake Vostok anymore. There's not a research station there anymore. It's been moved, or the weather station's down or gone. But I'll just read it. He said the discovery at Lake Vostok was covered up by Russian officials who are now looking at ways to weaponize and breed the deadly squid with potentially devastating effects. Dr. Padalka or whatever said the squid, which was discovered in a freshwater lake trapped beneath 2 miles of ice, possessed an array of weapons and was responsible for the deaths of at least 2 of his scientific colleagues on the expedition. Giving details which sounded like the script from a B-movie horror film, he said, we encountered organism 46B on our first day. It disabled our radio, which we later learned to our alarm was intentional. Said it is also able to eyes prey from a distance of 150 feet by releasing its venom into the water. Tragically, my colleague and lifelong friend was killed this way. He tread water wearing a blissful smile as the organism approached him. We watched helplessly as it used its arms to tear off its head and then popped its remains in its mouth. It was as if it had hypnotized him telepathically. Said the 33-foot-long man-eater also boasts extraordinary camouflage that helped it stalk the researchers, including shape-shifting. The doctor said the shape-shifting capabilities of organism 46B sound almost diabolical. It shaped itself into the form of a human diver. We thought it was one of my colleagues swimming towards us in scuba gear, but by the time the closest scientist had realized what it had grabbed him and torn him to bits. He also revealed that the octopus could also use its tentacles to kill, even after they had been hacked off its body. The doctor claimed another of his colleagues were killed by a tentacle many hours after slicing it off with an axe. He said later that night it slithered across the ice bank and strangled her. Said after 5 days of battling this animal, the remaining scientists finally trapped organism 46B in a tank. They brought it to the surface, but were shocked when it was seized by Russian officials, who told the waiting international press nothing had been found. So that's my
weird.
wife said it was like a human Gogurt. That's messed up.
And the fact that it's so dangerous messes up my evil plan to breed it for calamari, because 14 arms. I mean, that's a lot of calamari. I'm sorry.
It is. I'm not a fan of it. It's good fish bait.
Each his own. I like seafood. Unfortunately, seafood sounds like it might like me.
Yeah. But watching videos and doing research on this, if you look at the giant squid and the number of octopus or octopi, I should say, right? My kids are screaming. I don't know if you can hear them or not. But all of these weapons, I guess you could say, are found in cephalopods. The shape shifting, the camouflage, they're able to change colors
Open
fast.
jars.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're smart.
They are. They say they're sentient.
There is a theory out there that cephalopods are actually descended from alien organisms
Mm-hmm.
and are not related to the rest of the biology of the planet.
Right, because they're copper-based blood, if I remember right, not iron-based.
So
They have green blood or something like that.
that's weird.
It is. I mean, I've never seen a squid blood. Squid blood. I mean, I've cut
I'll
up a
have to
bunch of
look into
squid for
that.
fish bait.
I don't know if that's true or not, but they don't look like anything else.
Yeah, they don't. My wife said that's weird. It is. But I've also seen. Have you ever seen that show? It was on Discovery or History or something like that about after humans die or
I saw an
after
episode or two
humans.
of it after humans. Yeah,
They think that the evolutionary process, the cephalopods, will take our place once we're gone.
I mean they're smart.
Yeah. And they can fit through a whole
Tiny holes.
tiny hole. As long as they can get their beak through there, they can fit through it. And that's crazy to think about. I mean, I've seen the video of a fisher, of like crab fisherman or whatever, catching one, and it squeezes itself through the side of the ship, the fishing boat that it was on. It was just through a small little drain hole that it was able to get out.
Yeah.
They're kind of impressive animals, but they say they're definitely sentient. I've seen things, where people have like befriended some.
Yeah.
They're on the beach or whatever, and then they somehow, some way, contact or come in contact with an octopus or whatever, and over the next several days, this octopus is waiting for them to come back, and when they do, they realize it's them, and it comes to them like a pet.
I'd have an octopus for a pet. I don't really like pets, but that would be fun.
Yeah, that would be.
You
Hello
get a
from
giant
Lawrence.
tank, you can play in it together and release goldfish for it to catch. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's crazy to think about, but is it possible? That this could exist.
Sure. This is one of the more possible things we've talked about.
Right. Yeah, it is definitely. I could definitely see it because it's a whole unexplored biome, really.
Really, it is. And those deep lakes with no
Yeah.
access for millions of years.
Oh, that's Tim. Hey, Tim, how's it going? Tim, he's been with us for a long time. Thanks for hanging out with us, Tim. I appreciate it. But it's interesting to think about, interesting to throw around. What else could exist down there that we don't know about? How much? I mean,
Literally anything.
yeah. I mean, the thing could be real. The thing took place in Antarctica.
Yeah, even scientists say, well, it could be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's too cold to go visit.
Yeah, it is.
Very few people go there. So,
Yeah, what do they say? Like 1,000, something around 1,000 people, and like 400 over the winter.
yeah.
And I've read stories, and it could be creepypasta or something like that. But talking about strange things happening during the winter, when it's total darkness.
Part of that could be break with reality for some of these people, though. I mean,
Absolutely.
you're there with the same 5 people in the dark for months.
Yeah. Man, I don't know that I could do that. and
No,
not be able to go outside.
that's why they murder each other with steak knives. I mean, it's happened. It has happened. One guy, there was a guy who killed his friend because he kept spoiling the end of books. They were trapped, and he's ah,
They had enough.
no more. At least in prison, he can enjoy his books.
Yeah, apparently, just don't piss him off. Don't take it away from him.
Hey,
Yeah, you'd have
I'm
to.
precious.
Yeah, you'd have to find something to keep your sanity. I mean, because you can't go outside because it's so cold. I mean, like I said, we used to go to Weather Underground, so me and the guy at work, and just see how cold it was. And there were times it was like minus 100.
Yeah,
And you can't go outside in that no matter how well you're dressed.
you will die.
Now, and so what are you going to do? I mean, I would imagine you have what you bring, a computer. I don't know.
Hey, those guys probably like Starlink a lot.
Oh, probably. I don't know if Starlink.
Except for the guy who has to go clean off the.
Well, the cool thing about Starlink is it's got a heater.
Oh well, there you go.
It does. It'll automatically heat and melt snow off of it. So
Nice. So I'm sure those guys really do like Starlink. Hey, I wonder if we could get somebody from one of those
if they have
research
it down
centers.
there.
I bet they do. I wonder if we can get one of those guys in a research center to talk with us on the show. I don't even know how to get a
Well,
get
I
a
did.
hold of them. If they've got the internet.
That last time we had Frank on here a couple weeks ago, I did email a guy that has been down there because I wanted to hear what he had to say about what was going on down there. And he never got back with me. So, isn't my approach, is it?
No, I think
I don't know.
We're not big enough yet. We're not big enough.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be. But
Very well could be. But I think there's a lot to it down there. I mean, I think there might be some spiritual things going on down there.
yeah.
Because who knows? Who knows what was there? I mean, there's things that now the ice are melting, and that's possible. My wife's put maybe he doesn't want to talk about it, and that's possible.
Yeah.
But they're saying with all this melt going on, that there's possibly old ancient structures, being shown. I did see one, we were talking about it before, that looks like a city.
Yeah, it looked like
That
houses laid out in a row.
right.
I saw the video of that. It's pretty weird.
My wife's or can't talk about it, and they may be. Yeah, who knows? It's anybody's guess.
And the thing is, it's so dangerous to travel down there. Nobody can really go. I want somebody to go to this pyramid. I want somebody to go to this supposed city. I want but you can't because it's so hard to travel.
Yep.
And it's a huge continent. It's huge. It's bigger than Australia, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Is that Tim? We kind of have a delay on Facebook, but no, nothing's wrong with Lawrence. I don't mind Lawrence at all. We're only 2.5 hours from Lawrence.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Lawrence. But I know that you can go down. You can take cruises. I think from Chile. There was, I don't remember the other place. But you can take cruises down there, and you can get off the boat, but you're not going to go very far.
No, you can't.
And like we said earlier, it's a no-fly zone over most of it.
Even the whaling stations down there didn't stay open all that long.
What's that?
Even the whaling stations down there didn't stay open
Oh,
that long. It was too cold.
yeah,
Although their remains have lasted for 100 years now or more in
yeah.
excellent condition.
Yeah, they found human skulls and stuff like that
Yeah,
down there where people have died. And again, that may be why there is a no-fly zone. Is they don't want people flying around, poking around, then maybe having to try to get a rescue operation going.
yeah, and there's just not that many. There's just not that many people down there capable of doing a rescue, and right, frankly, most of the year you can't.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you're lost, you're done. If you don't know what you're doing, you're done. Um,
Even if you do,
yeah. I mean, it wouldn't take much.
yeah.
Yeah,
Ask
because
the
what's
Shackleford expedition about that, or was that
yeah.
the North Pole? It was
I
the South Pole.
I think it was the South Pole.
Yeah, that turned out badly.
Yeah, they all did. I mean, there was two of them, right? There was two teams.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
think
the
so.
story I'm thinking of? There was two teams. One team was just trying to get there as fast as they possibly could. The other team was taking their time, only going so far every day. And the guys that were just trying to get there as fast as possible, they're the ones that died
Yeah,
because they wore themselves out. They killed their dogs because they were using dog sleds and stuff like that.
it's too cold for
And
dog sleds.
yeah, and the other team, they only traveled so far every day they got there and back. So you got to keep your wits and you got to keep your mind about it down there. So, and like I said, that may be why there's no fly zone. They don't want people being stupid and going out there and flying over and having to ditch or whatever, being stuck out there.
Yeah, because they're never going to get you. Or if they do,
No,
it'll be 100 years from now.
right. Um, yeah, but it's a strange place. I mean, there's tons of stuff on it. I imagine we could do several shows just on Antarctica
Oh
alone.
yeah,
But we thought this would be a fun show. We thought it would be fun to talk about something different. I mean, it's not necessarily paranormal. Could be. With the possible alien connection. Um, like Mark said, the show Ancient Aliens have had a
field day
field
with
day
it.
down there.
Yeah,
But there again, I mean, it depends on what you believe and all that. Um, the flat earthers, all that stuff. I mean, there's so many different stories and routes that we could go with the show. And we could do, like I said, several different episodes on it. That's really all I've got tonight.
no, I, I don't really have anything more about it. I mean, there was a lot of interesting things I read. I think several of them seemed plausible,
Hmm?
but most of them not. Um, most of them wanted me to well find my tinfoil.
Right?
I mean, oh, we could share websites that have uh, non tinfoil Faraday hats. I think we should get one. I think we should get one as a sponsor. One of these places. As much stuff as we talk about this, you know, kind of off the deep end. Just fun to be put up on the website. But anyway, I don't really have anything else.
Okay. You were cutting out there for a minute, so I didn't catch a lot of what you said.
Oh, you probably didn't miss anything. I was talking about tinfoil hats.
Oh. Yeah, this would have been a good one to have them.
Well, yeah, I was talking about how it would be good to get some of those Faraday hats and put them on our website to sell because,
Oh.
you know, we talk about so many things that you really need one.
I think so. I think absolutely.
We should have named the
Somebody said,
podcast the Tinfoil Hat. Oh wow, thanks, man.
yeah, I don't know who. We'll see who that is real quick.
Either down the rabbit hole or the tinfoil hats. Those would have
Right.
been good. I don't know why we didn't think of them.
Which child? Oh, it's your daughter. My daughter's not old enough to
It's
be
got to
on
be Sarah.
Facebook, so it's your daughter.
Yeah, it's just showing up as Facebook
Yeah.
user. Sorry, Sarah. But yeah, I'll wear it.
Your child.
I will wear a tinfoil hat if you make it for me. I'll even put pictures up for you. You can take those tomorrow when we do our photo shoot.
Right. Speaking of photo shoot, let me go back into that. Yeah, before we get off, gotta plug you guys, man.
Yeah. My paranormal group and I are hosting a mini Paracon here in Caney, Kansas, on the 38th parallel, on National Ghost Hunting Day, September 24th. So you can visit our website or our Facebook page and register. The venue's pretty good size, but it's not huge. Paranormal Punchers on email. Okay.
Yep.
But
Yeah, this is
yeah,
their magazine cover.
yeah, we're going to be in a Southeast Kansas magazine insert coming soon. So
Awesome.
I guess I'm a slightly bigger minor celebrity. And as you can see in the photograph, I'm just a slightly bigger anyway. With a tiny head on a giant body. I mean,
uh, Levi put, he said, you guys should definitely shoot Paranormal Hunters an email. I feel like you two would hit it off really well. We'll give it a shot.
oh,
What's the date for the Paracon? September 24th, right,
September
Mark?
24th in Caney at the community center. So
And
check us
my
out
wife,
on.
my wife lies.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But yeah,
Yep, check
definitely.
us out on Facebook. SEK Paranormal uh, Society,
Bordertown Paranormal.
Bordertown SEK Bordertown Paranormal on Facebook. All the links are there. Link to our website. Everything's there. You can get on our website and register for the Paracon. It's going to be fun. If it keeps growing like this, I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to run out of buildings big enough in Caney to host it.
Yep.
We may have
That's
to
a
go
good problem.
Yeah, we may have to go multiple days.
Yep.
My teammates Jess and Pam, who've been on the show, have done an awesome job of organizing, and I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. Anybody who's in the area, register and come on down.
If you're not in the area, it's going to be live on Facebook too. Correct?
Yep, we're going to have it live on Facebook, YouTube. I don't know if we're going to be able to put it on. Oh, okay, I don't know if we're going to be able to put it on any other platforms besides that, but we'll try.
Yeah. I like to try to go live for us, doing our part of the show.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to, because last year, during the intermission, people were getting lunch and stuff like that. We had people come up, and we did it afterwards too for a little bit. We had people come up who had stories to share.
Yeah, I'm hoping that happens again this time.
I did too. It was a lot
That's
of fun.
the plan. Yeah.
So And then the audio wasn't really great. We kind of ran into some little hiccups and stuff like that, but it was a lot of fun hearing everybody's different stories. Um, and what was great is the people felt comfortable enough to tell their stories.
Right.
They
I,
weren't ashamed of it. Because they knew we weren't going to. We were there. I mean, we were on the panel,
yeah,
and they knew we weren't going to judge them, and that's what it's about. I mean,
it's a
you guys
judgment-free
are
zone. We're not gonna.
right. No, absolutely not. I find them intriguing. I find them interesting, and you guys are in the business with the paranormal community. I mean, you guys are in the business of listening to people, helping people.
Right. I mean, sometimes it's paranormal. Sometimes it's actually normal stuff. I mean,
Right.
we've helped people who uh, had EMF problems in their home and was making them hallucinate or have feelings of being watched. There's all kinds of things that can happen. Crooked floors in your house. We'll look into all that. You know, we're not going. Everything's not a demon. Everything's not a ghost.
Right.
Um, but I find it just hugely interesting, and we have caught things, especially on audio, that I mean I can't explain through any other means as it being paranormal.
Right.
It's just when
Believe
we
I
get a
said,
real
can
quick
you get a story?
story time from
Right.
Mark. Anytime you talk to me, it's story time. As I get older, the stories just get longer and exaggerated more. That fish keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Uh,
I was just thinking that the whole
uh,
fishtail.
yeah, one of these days that fish is going to be bigger than my house, Levi. So maybe we should pass on that.
Yeah, well, we did share an episode here a while back, a month or two ago,
Oh
where
yeah,
we talked
yeah.
about our own personal experiences and things like that. Um, but yeah, y'all go check them out. And like I said, if you're not from the area and you want to make the trip, by all means, make the trip. If not, it'll be on Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. Our part,
The, the flyer is on our Facebook too. So
yeah, yeah, it's on our Facebook group. Um, and like I said, our part, we're going to try to go live. I got to try to figure out how to do it. I may just have to set up a camera separately, um, and just film us there. I don't know. Then we may have somebody that doesn't want to be on film, so it may be just a live broadcast, through StreamYard with no video. It may just be audio, but it's exciting. It's fun. You learn a lot and you hear some pretty cool stories and experiences and stuff like that too.
it is, and you
Um,
meet the neatest people.
yeah, yeah. Christine last year, man, I'm still. She was awesome. We've
She
got
is
to get her on
coming.
here.
She is
I
going to
know.
be at the Paracon, and she is donating uh, some readings. So,
Yep.
and she is, I think, a very good, very legitimate medium.
Oh, I'm convinced. Trust me. When she read me last year, holy crap.
Yeah, it's like reading a book. She
Yep.
she knew everything.
Yep. Um, but yeah, definitely. I'm excited. It'll be fun. Um, and I'm glad to see it growing. I really am. My wife said I want to see if she'll do a reading for me. I bet she would.
Come on down.
She's a sweetheart. She really is.
She's one of the sweetest people I've ever met.
Yeah, and she's just got the most bubbly personality. She
Right?
does. Um, and what amazes me is she's blind, so she's not taking
Yeah.
any cues off of your physical reactions.
Yeah. I
That's what
mean,
that's what blew me away.
yeah.
And
I totally, I believe she's totally legit.
I do too. Her story is awesome. Her the little girl and all that. It's an awesome
Oh
story.
yeah, it is. She's got some awesome ones.
We'll definitely try to get her on to share some stuff with us again.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think I've got her card. I just need to get a hold of her and see if she'll jump on with us one evening. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think it would be
anyway,
awesome.
I'm all tapped out. Mark, you good?
I'm good. I mean, I didn't know that there was this many weird things going on in Antarctica.
No, it's pretty cool. We'll have to revisit this. Maybe find some different stuff on it.
There is more
Um,
stuff. We didn't cover
there
about
is.
half of it.
I know it.
So,
But
all
yeah,
right.
folks, again, thank you all for listening. Help us out. Come join the Facebook group. If you want to email us, if you want to get in contact and email us, by all means, whatiftomorrowpc@gmail.com. By all means, email us. We'd love to hear from you guys. Questions, comments, and on iTunes or wherever, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. YouTube. Help us grow. Share this if you like our content. If you want to keep and you want to help us grow, by all means, share it. Most of you guys, excuse me, you guys know that we don't take ourselves too seriously, especially on this show. Here recently on Prepared.
You still there, Phil? I think
There's
you're
things
cutting
changing
out.
every day. Of course, I'm trying to close the show out every time. It never
It
fails.
does. The internet hates us,
Apparently so.
or is it?
But well, we're talking about our preparedness. Or I was talking about our preparedness show, so maybe who knows? Big Brother's watching.
Government conspiracy.
Yep.
Sarah, I'm ready for
Anyways,
my hat.
yeah, we need to get it and just have them on.
We
But
do.
anyway, folks, thanks again so much for joining us tonight. The live chat was a lot of fun. And if you're listening on the podcast format, thanks for listening and giving. I can't even talk. Giving us your time. And with that being said, folks, we'll catch you next episode.
Good night.